I'm Christy Hartman. Welcome back to my channel. We're going to use one of our wildflower irises from our long haul session, and we're going to complete a canvas. I have adhered the long haul piece to this 9 by 12 inch canvas. I've added multiple layers. There's a lot going on in this canvas. There's some painting on here, there's some line work, there is some stenciling, there is some gold foil, there's gold foil on the sides. It is truly a mixed media piece. It's a little bit longer video than I normally post, but I think you'll find it's worth it in the end. I decided to use this Folk Art Treasure Gold paint. So I'm going to paint this canvas front and sides with this copper colored paint. So let me do this off camera and I'll be back to share the results. I'm tearing strips off of one of these long haul pieces, and this is the one that was kind of almost a bronze color. And I'm going to glue them down to the canvas, and I'm going to use this DecoArt decoupage. It's time to start adding some detail to this. We're going to use this DecoArt color called Asphaltum. We're going to do a little dry brushing, which you have seen me do before in other videos. Remove quite a bit of your paint. And this Asphaltum is a very, very translucent color. It's going to allow our copper to show and our turquoise, but it's just going to give it a little bit of a darkened edge. I'm going to go over on this edge because I don't like the way that this is looking, and what this does is it just kind of knocks those edges of that paper back just a bit. Especially anywhere where I have kind of a white edge from my print, it's just knocking that edge back just a bit. Just carry that over the edges on these two. I'm going to use a little bit of this navy blue color, and I'm just going to define the shape of my iris just a little bit. And I'm just going to add a shadow in and around my iris. And this navy blue actually has a little bit of a turquoise look to it, so I think it will work well on this paper. And for those of you that aren't familiar with what I'm doing, this is called a float, and this is a technique that we as decorative painters use frequently to add shadows, highlights, and to add interest. I'm going to go over that blue just lightly with a little bit of this soft black, which is almost a brown. I'm going to layer it right over the top of what I just completed. And this is really light. It's almost a glaze. Now I want to enhance these stems, but I don't want to get into these center areas. I want to leave those be, because I'm going to do something else there. I'm going to add some pastel ground to these areas. And I want to be careful that I only add this to the areas where I know I'm going to add some pan pastels. I'll finish this off camera and be back when we are going to use pan pastels on this. This is Phthalo Green Extra Dark, and I am using my pointed tool. It's very close color-wise to what I have in the background. Just kind of punching up the color a little bit. We're going to add. This is Phthalo Blue Extra Dark, and I'm just going to add some shadows. I will tell you that pastel ground is very hard on your soft tools. I've basically worn a hole through that. So I'm going to turn it over so I can use the other side. I think that look is turning out really nicely. I need to add a little bit of a highlight. I think I'm going to use this. This is a turquoise shade. I'm going to go back in with that phthalo blue just a little bit more and just kind of add a little, just kind of touch up my shadows a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of this magenta just up in those lighter areas. Just as turquoise. I think it'll look nice just down here in the very end. Just to add a little lightness. And I did not add that pastel ground to this. I'm just going over the top of it. And I will have to set this. Just gives it a little bit of a lightness. Just, it's very subtle. No, this is yellow ochre. I'm not crazy with how these corners look. I'm going to add to them. So I've ripped some strips from the gold piece of paper that I put on the sides. And I'm not 100% sure I care that they're all exactly the same. Well, that's kind of interesting too. I kind of like that. This is a stencil from Stencil Girl, and it's called 6-Point Starry Night, and it's L125. I'm going to use that same copper we used in the background and just add so you can barely see it. I don't know if you can even see that, but I like it. And there I have it. I've gone all the way around the edge. It's got little, just subtle bits of copper on it. I think that works. This is a stencil from a set which is all lit up, Style 2 Lights and Sparkles, and this is from PM Artist Studio. And I'm using the star strip. I'm also going to use my Tacky When Dry, and I'm going to add my Decofoil Gold Leaf, which comes in a package like this, and it looks like this. And I'm going to add some gold foiled stars to the negative sections of this canvas. And this is Tacky When Dry for this purpose is really fantastic. It's thinner than a modeling paste. It's almost the same consistency for those of you who are familiar with a string gel. That's the way it's going to look. It will dry clear. I'll finish the rest of this up on camera, off camera. Then I'll show you how we apply the Decofoil. So these are almost dry. This one needs to, see how it's not clear yet? That one needs to dry more. But the rest of them are almost dry, and I already put some down here on the bottom. When you do this, take your sheet, lay it over the top of the area with your Sticky When Dry. And I'm going to use this is a hard brayer. I'm going to use this to go right over the top of it. But I have found on a canvas it doesn't always transfer well. So I'm using a spoon. It's just a regular kitchen spoon. And I'm just going to go over the top of these, just kind of burnish them down, and then pull it off. And you end up getting, now sometimes the very center of these will still be a little sticky. So what I do is I just go back over the tops of those just to kind of fill in those sticky areas. Alright, there's a couple other areas to add the Tacky When Dry. And I'm going to put some on the ends, and when I come back, I'll be able to show you the finished product. This is the finished piece, and I think it turned out beautifully. I love the gold foil on it. It kind of reminds me of a Van Gogh piece with the iris and the gold stars. You'll notice that I added some line work to this iris, and that was an afterthought, and I don't show it in the video. I use this PC1MR, which is an extra fine black Posca marker to outline my iris. But thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, join my channel if you're not a subscriber, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my next video.